Good morning. Namaste to each of you. Thank you for joining me this morning to honor your mind and your body and your spirit. Let's just take a moment to become present, finding a nice, comfortable seated position on a cushion or a pillow, block, whatever will help you to lengthen the back of your spine and neck, just sitting up nice and tall so that your chest opens and then your diaphragm opens and your heart opens. If you would gently close your eyes and soften your thoughts, soften your eyes, soften your shoulders, and soften your heart. Observe your breath as it is, soft and gentle, breathing life into you with each inhale and relaxation with each exhale. Feel the grace of being present, returning to that awareness again and again. You may open your eyes now. For this morning's intention, you may think of a positive word or phrase to have with you on your mat and perhaps carry with you throughout the day. This morning's intention I'd like to talk about is mindful gardening. It's garden season, I think, in Vermont. I'm going to keep all my fingers and my toes crossed that we are past our final frost of the season. Who knows? We'll see. But yoga and gardening are a natural pairing. Planting the seed, nurturing its growth, and experiencing its full expression of a full blossom. It is not unlike the yogic process of setting an intention and nurturing one's practice, and finally experiencing the self as an individual expression of creative life force. For this morning, I'd like to introduce you to a new pranayama. Unbeknownst to me, it's one I've been using for a while, and you may as well. It's called pursed lip breathing. And researching it, one of the places, and it was showing up in Healthline and WebMD and all those links, resources. It's a breathing technique that really helps people that have COPD and other health issues with respiratory. So it's a great one to have in your toolbox. And it's a breathing technique that helps you slow your breathing down to inhale and exhale more air. And that makes it easier to perform physical activities like gardening. So let's practice that. I'll go through what it's like. You inhale through your nose, and then you purse your lips like you're blowing on hot food. And then you exhale through those lips. So let's try that. Inhale through the nose. purse the lips, and then exhale. And the technique is to have your inhale be shorter than your exhale. They're saying 2 beats on the inhale, four counts on the exhale. But I think it just works that if you inhale and then just fully exhale slowly until your tummy's empty, your lungs are empty, that will, you'll find your own rhythm in that. But theoretically, the inhale is shorter than the exhale. So let's just take a few moments and do the pursed lip breathing. Through your nose, purse your lips, and exhale. I could do that one all day. Let's go back to our natural breath. And for this morning's meditation, I'd like to introduce you to a new mudra, lots of new this morning. It's called Prithvi. It's Prithvi, Prithvi Mudra. And in the Ayurvedic science, each finger, which we use for our mudras, represents an earth element. So you have fire, air, ether, earth, and water. So the Prithvi mudra is the earth mudra. So you're going to bring your thumb and your ring finger, which is the earth finger element, together. And that helps one to connect to the earth, to feel grounded, rooted, and supported. And if you work with chakras, it's the root chakra, your first chakra, that it's in line with. So again, it helps you to feel grounded and rooted and supported. When you're out in your garden, you're feeling that connection to the earth as well. There's a guided meditation that I'd like to do using this mudra. And I'll go through it a couple times. There's going to be a breathe in and breathe out with a kind of an affirmation. But it's designed, I got it from a book called Mindfulness in the Garden. And it's something that you would do walking in your garden, thinking about these thoughts as you breathe in and out. And if you don't have a garden, not into gardening, that's fine. I found out recently that there are labyrinths, which are often in the ground. Sometimes they're inside a building, but if you want to feel that connection to the earth and you don't want to do the gardening, don't blame you. In Vermont, there are actually 32 labyrinths, and they're all over the place. And I'll put that link in my YouTube thing, and they're a wonderful experience. There's one close by in Berlin, Vermont, that I did, having found this out, and it takes quite a while, even though the labyrinth itself is not that big, but it's a loopy thing. So you're walking in these interconnected loops. And at the time I went, it was there were little wild violets that were in bloom and wild strawberry blossoms that were in bloom. So it was like walking in a garden in itself. And some of these are set in gardens. So you may want to check that out for mindfulness in the garden. And what I'll do is I'll proceed on to this these affirmations that I have. So using your Prithvi Mudra, you just rest it gently on your lap. I'm going to breathe in. We slow down our steps, soul to soil. We touch the earth. Breathe out. We are free from the busyness of our lives and enjoy our freedom communing with nature. Breathe in. We relax into nature's welcoming embrace, and we come to know our gardens and ourselves. Breathe out. We build a true friendship with the earth. I'll just go through that one more time. Breathe in. We slow down our steps, soul to soil. We touch the earth. Breathe out. We are free from the busyness of our lives and enjoy our freedom communing with nature. Breathe in. We relax into nature's welcoming embrace, and we come to know our gardens and ourselves. Breathe out. We build a true friendship with the earth. Okay, I will meet you on the mat and we'll get started in our asana practice. We'll start this morning with some shoulder shrugs. This, when I was researching how, exercises to do for gardening, the Yoga Journal, in fact, kind of had a nice article about it. And with our shoulder shrugs, we know how to do these, kind of round the shoulders up and down, breathing into it. And then when you're comfortable, you can reverse the direction. So back to Yoga Journal, they suggest that you do a pre-gardening warm-up, and these exercises, as we do every Saturday, are always warming up our bodies before we get into our main poses. So think of it as your yoga practice, your typical yoga practice, to do some warm-up exercises. And then when we get out into the garden and we're, lifting that bale, hauling that, whatever, that's kind of the main part of your yoga experience. And the more difficult, the more challenging poses come along. And then after, as we know from Shavasana, that is a very important pose in our yoga practice to really relax the body. And that also Yoga Journal cites, take that time at the end of gardening to really relax and do that those restorative poses. So we'll do a chest opener. You can relax your shoulders now. We're going to put our fingertips by the side, and we'll inhale, bringing our palms up overhead, bringing our palms together, and then bring our palms to heart center. exhaling as we go. And then inhale, interlace your fingers. And then exhale, pushing, reversing your hand and pushing your palms out away from you. And then going to inhale, lifting those fingers overhead. And then exhale, release and bring them down. And if you notice that part of it where we're interlacing our fingers and expanding, that's part of the earth salutation. So let's do that a few more times. So inhale, lifting our hands up overhead. Palms come together. Exhale, bring them down to heart center, keeping our shoulders relaxed. Interlace our fingers on the inhale. Exhale, push our palms away from ourselves. Inhale, lifting our arms up overhead. And then exhale, down. Inhale, up. Palms come together. Exhale, palms come to heart center. Inhale, interlace the fingers. Exhale, push out away from you gently. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, float your hands back down. A couple more times. Inhale, up. Palms come together. Exhale, palms come to heart center. Inhale, interlace your fingers. Exhale, push your palms away from you. Inhale, bring your hands up overhead. And exhale, down. Okay, I've already lost count. Let's just do one more. Inhale, lift our hands up overhead. Palms come together. Exhale, palms to heart center. Inhale, interlace the fingers. Exhale, push out. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, bring your hands back down. The next one we're going to do is just kind of loosening up a lot of parts of our body. So if you kind of put your hands on your knees and pretend you're going to stir a pot with your nose. So we're going to bring our nose forward, and it's a big pot. It's like it surrounds us. So we're going to stir the pot with our nose, bringing it out in front of us, bringing it over to this other side, bringing it back, kind of tucking our chin under, and then bringing it back again. And as you stir your pot, kind of bring your whole body into the movement. And with that, you can like lean in with your shoulder, open up your chest, lean in with your other shoulder, come back, round your back, and then come around into that circle again. During the pot, just kind of really feel that all through your body. And then when you reach a comfortable spot, you can reverse the direction. And just one more big circle coming around. Then we put our feet into a cobbler's pose. So the soles, remember that soul to soil part. I love that. Soul to soil. Bring our soles together. And you can wrap your hands around your ankles or around your toes. And what I'd like you to do is just really roll your shoulders back in a nice relaxed way, really opening up your chest, elongating your spine and the back of your neck, and then pivot from your waist forward and just gently go a little ways until you just feel that tug on your back ever so slightly. I don't want you to push it in this. And then come back to an upright position and then maybe lean back some. And then try that again. Lean into it. Your elbows are going down into your thighs or toward your thighs. And the idea is to keep your back straight, pivoting from the waist. And that, when you're gardening, is key. Another place I love to research is the YouTube channel is Bob and Brad, the famous physical therapists, according to them. And they have 12 suggestions, steps for pain-free gardening. And all through those steps, they emphasize keeping your back nice and straight and long. I know it's going to be impossible to do, but if you're mindful of that, that will help you in the long run. And then come back to a sitting pose, and we're going to bring our right leg up, so the knees facing up to the sky, and then take our right ankle and then bring our foot down to the mat. So this is deer pose, and we're going to bring a little twist into deer pose. So bring your right hand to your right knee and your left fingertips in back of your hips, twisting your torso gently to the left. And then come back to center. Bring that leg back into cobbler's pose. Sole to sole. Wrap your hands around your ankles or around your toes. We'll do a few more of the cobbler's pose. Again, the idea is to keep that back straight, pivoting from the waist. Bring yourself forward and just really tune into your body, especially your back. Make sure that it's comfortable and not straining. And then come back, and you can lean back into your arms. Come forward ever so slightly again. And then back. Just gentle rocking back and forth. You want to wake up your muscles slowly. Another thing that Brad and Bob suggested, lean forward, is not to jump out of bed and jump into your garden. Take a walk, basically loosening up your body. And that's exactly what we're doing, is warming up the body. And they went through a scientific explanation about your vertebrae and the paths between it. And I can't go into that because that stuff doesn't sit in my head well. And then we're going to take our left leg and send the knee up toward the sky, and then grab our left ankle and bring it down to the mat. Deer pose. And then bring our left hand to our right knee, twisting our torso to the right. Take a few deep inhales here and exhales. And then come back to center. Come into tabletop. Come up to your hands and knees. Really focus on tabletop today. Your wrists are right below your shoulders, knees right below your hips. Your hands, the fingers are splayed wide apart, perhaps gripping the mat, creating a little strength. And then you're pushing into your hands to create space between your shoulder and your ears. Really Instead of slouching down, you're really kind of gently pushing down into the earth to create that separation between the shoulders and your ears. Your navel's tucked to your spine, creating a nice flat back. And guess what? We're in a major weeding position. And if you all garden, you may have one of those nice cushy garden pads that bring around with you while you're in your garden planting or weeding. But focus on your tabletop elements when you're in there, and don't have yourself slouching down. Really support yourself. So we're going to bring our hands, point our fingers out to each side, out to the long side of the mat, and just feel comfortable in that for a moment. And if you're inclined, bring your fingertips so they're reverse and pointing toward your knees. And this will just stretch out your wrists. And then bring them back so they're pointing to the sides of the mat. And then bring them back so they're pointing to the top of the mat. And then we'll go into our cats and cows. So just gently exhale, rounding your back up, bringing your tail and your crown of your head down toward the mat. And then inhale, lifting your head up. Tail goes up. And again, you're focusing on that even distribution of weight in your hands, pushing down, creating that space. And then continue with your cats and cows, synchronizing it to your breath. You can even try the pursed breathing technique, pursed lip breathing technique. Inhaling through your nose and then exhaling through your lips like you're trying to cool off hot food. Really just wake up that spinal cord. And then come back to tabletop, neutral spine. And we're going to do some what I call rear views. So bring your knees together under your hips and send your right foot all the way down to the bottom of the mat. And then bring your right foot to the left side, bringing it outside the mat. And then we're going to turn our head like we're saying no, over to the left, and then gently send your gaze back to your right foot. And then bring that right knee back underneath, and we'll send the left leg out to the bottom of the mat. Check in with your hands and your arms. See if the weight's evenly distributed. And then bring that left foot over to the outside of the mat on the right side. And then gently turn your head over to the right and send your gaze back to the look of your left foot. And then bring that knee back underneath. We'll do both sides one more time. Extend your right foot down to the bottom of the mat. Check in with your hands and your arms. Bring that right foot over to the left side of the mat, just outside the mat. Turn your head to the left, and then send the gaze down to your right foot. And then bring your right knee back and extend your left leg down. Check in with your arms and hands, and bring your left foot outside the mat on the right side. Turn your head to the right, and then send your gaze to your left foot. And then bring it back. Their next pose is going to be the monkey pose, or half monkey rather. So we're going to bring our right leg up so that the knee is right below, the ankle's right below the knee, and our hands are framing the front foot. We're going to slide our left knee back just a little bit, so we have a little bit of comfort there when we go into our half monkey. And this is another good pose if you're weeding or planting. You know, you have the one leg down, it keeps your back straight, and it provides support for your upper body. You can lean your chest on your leg while you're weeding or planting. So let's go into the half monkey. We're going to do two variations of it. So the first one, we're going to ride our leg down. As we straighten our front leg, we're going to keep our front foot on the mat and ride our leg down with our chest, bringing our chin toward our knee, stretching out the hamstrings, and then bring that knee back up. And then we're going to extend our gaze up and out, opening up our chest. And then bringing our head back down, we're going to straighten out our front leg. This time we're going to flex our foot up to the sky and walk our hands back. So we're going to kind of bring ourselves back a little bit further in our hips. And then walk our hands back up. Bring our chest forward, our head forward, send our gaze out. And then we're going to bring our chest, keeping it on our leg. We're going to keep our front foot planted like the first time, riding our leg down, bringing our chin toward our knee, keeping our hands where they are, and then bring our knee back up. Sending our chest and gaze forward. And then bringing our chest back down. We're going to walk our hands back, flexing our foot up to the sky as we go. And then walking it back forward. And you bring that right foot back to tabletop. And we'll do that on the left side. So bringing our left foot forward. Again, scooch your back knee so it gets comfortable in the half monkey pose. And we'll ride our left leg down, keeping our left foot on the mat, bringing our chin toward our knee. Really feeling a stretch in that. And then walk our hands, opening up our chest, sending our gaze forward. Our chest goes forward, really stretching out in our hip and groin area. And then we're going to walk our hands back. So we walk our hands back, we're going to flex our foot up to the sky. And then walk our hands forward. Again, sending our chest and our chin forward and opening it up. And then we'll walk or ride our leg back down, keeping our foot on the mat. And then again, bending your knee, coming back into that low lunge, sending the chest and gaze out. And then we'll walk our hands back, flexing our foot up to the sky as we go. And then walk our hands back. And then coming into tabletop again, bringing that left leg back to tabletop. We're gonna tuck our toes under, walk our hands back, coming into a squat, pushing down and coming up to mountain pose. And our toes are in line with the straight edge of the mat. We'll lift them up, really spread them out, bringing them back down, lift our heels back up, or lift our heels up and bring them back down. And again, really feel that connection to the earth, that soul to soil. We're gonna sweep our hands up, overhead, big inhale, and exhale, bringing our hands down to the earth, bending our knees as we go. And then bringing our hands halfway, half forward fold. And then slide our hands all the way up to the tops of the thighs, having your elbows reaching out and up. And just feel that lengthening of your spine on your back. These are good exercises to do when you're out in the garden. Maybe your back's getting a little fatigued. Just take some time out and do some stretches. And half forward fold's a good one to do, bringing your hands all the way up. You just really feel that stretch of your spine. Then bring your hands all the way back down, crown goes down. Sweep your hands from the mat all the way up to the sky. Come up onto your tippy toes. And then bring your arms and heels back down. We'll do a few sun breaths here. So inhale, sweeping up, coming up onto our tippy toes. And exhale, coming back down, bringing the heels back to the mat. And one more time, sweeping your hands up, coming up onto our tippy toes. And then bring your hands and heels back down. Bring your hands all the way down to the ground, bending your knees as you go. Half forward fold, hands to your shins, really flattening out your back. Stretching that spine and the back of your neck. Then send the crown of your head down to the mat. Inhale, sweeping your hands up. Bring your hands together overhead. We'll bring the right hand down to the right thigh and slide it down to your knee, coming into supported side stretch. And then inhale, come back up. And the left hand goes to the left thigh, slide it down to the left knee, side stretch to the left. Inhale, back up. Right hand comes down again. Slide it down toward your right knee. And then bring your hand back up. And bring your left hand back down. Slide it down to your knee. And then bring that hand back up. And bring both hands back down to the mat, bending your knees as you go. I'm going to place a left hand on the mat, bending your left knee. You're going to straighten your right knee, but keep a little bit of a bend in that. And sweep your right hand all the way up to the sky. Forward fold with a twist. And then bring that back down. Switch places, bring your right hand to the mat, bend your right knee toward your right arm, straightening out your left leg, keeping a gentle bend in it, and sweeping your left hand all the way up to the sky and back down. And sweeping both hands all the way up, overhead, palms come together, palms come to heart center, palms come to the back of your hips. Fingertips are pointing down, feet are about hip width apart, shoulders are relaxed and rolled back. And I forgot to do my essentials of good posture, but that is key to a successful gardening experience, is to have that good posture, have everything, and we go through it every week. So have be mindful of your posture while you're in the garden. So back to our supported back bend. This is a great one to do when you're kind of out there and you need a break. The fingertips on the back of your hips, shoulders are gently relaxed. Tucking your chin toward your chest, you're just going to lean back. You're kind of counteracting that bending forward that you're doing all the time with the bending back. And you really need to ease into this. Don't go from immediately bending forward, then like get up and like whip into this back bend. You need to have your spine take a moment to readjust and then go into this. So maybe do some breaths with your tippy toes first, something that's just really vertical, straight, and then get into the back bend. Alrighty, onward we go. So in mountain pose, we're going to have our hands by our side and lift our right leg up and then send it back just to touch the toes down. And as we do that, we're going to lift our arms up to the sky. So it's a nice fluid movement. We're going to bring our arms down, lifting our knee up, and then send our arms up, send our foot back. We'll do this a couple more times. Arms go down, knee goes up, and then lifting your arms up, foot goes back. And then one more time, lifting our leg up, but this time, when you lift your arms and send it back, I want you to send it further back. We're going to come into warrior one. So send it back as far as you can and come into warrior one. So your front knee is going to be over your ankle. Your back foot is flat on the mat with a little bit of a 45-degree angle. Your arms are lifted up to the front. In this warrior one. And then we're going to come into warrior two. So just turn so you're facing the long side of the mat. Arms come out to the side. Just check your alignment. And gently turn your head to the left, looking at your left fingertips. And why I included warrior in mindful gardening is we eventually, if you listen to the garden shows on the radio, it eventually always comes down to being at war in your garden with the detrimental pests that eat things, whether they're bugs or critters. So I always laugh at these garden shows. They start off at the beginning of the year, just really fun and like, oh, what are we planting this year? And then by mid-season, we're into how to eradicate this, that, whatever. So mind you, you're going to have your warrior phase, but also bring your right hand down, lift your left hand up to the sky, send your gaze up to your hand for peaceful warrior. Just be aware that there's bugs and critters that are beneficial for our garden, and we need to be peaceful with them as well. So you bring our left arm down, so our forearm comes to the top of our left thigh, and we'll send our right hand up for extended side angle. And then we're going to bring ourselves back up into warrior two. And we're going to turn our torso so it's facing the long side of our mat and come into wide-legged stance. So our toes are pointing to the corners of the mat. Heels are tucked in at a 45-degree angle. We're going to sweep our hands up into the star pose and then bring them down into the goddess. And then we're going to bring our right arm down, right forearm down to the thigh. Bring our left arm up to the sky, and we'll do some sweeps from the sky to the ground, and then from the ground up to the sky. And if it's comfortable, you can follow your hand with your gaze. Just a couple more sweeps. And this is a great posture, maybe a little exaggerated, but for a weeding or planting, find your supports within your body. With your arm on your leg, you're taking the weight off your back, and you're keeping your back straight. Okay, so we're going to sweep up and then rise up, coming back into the star, and bring our arms down. And we'll do that all on the other side. So I'm going to do it from this side. So we myself in a flat spot. We're going to keep our hands down, lifting our leg, and then send our arms up, extend our foot to the back, bring arms down, leg goes up, arms go up, foot goes back, nice fluid motion, arms come down, leg goes up, arms come up, foot goes back, arms come down, foot goes, or leg comes up, and hold there. And then we're going to lift our arms up and send our foot extended back into warrior one. So that we're in a knee over ankle position with the front leg and the back leg is snug on the mat. And then we're going to bring that into a warrior two. So turning your torso so your chest is open to the long side of the mat. You can still see your big toe on the corner of your knee. Everything is in nice alignment. Turning your gaze, look at your right fingertips. We'll bring our left hand down, raising the right hand up to the sky for peaceful warrior. And then bring your arm back down. Right forearm goes on the right thigh. Sweeping the left hand up toward the sky in extended side angle. And then bringing that hand back down, coming back into warrior two. And then we're going to pivot, bringing ourselves into wide-legged stance. Toes pointing to the corners of the mat. Sweeping our arms up into star. We're going to bring our ourselves down into goddess, being the goddess of our garden, or god of our garden. And then leaning our left arm on our left thigh. We're gonna bring our right hand up and sweep it from the sky down to the earth. And then sweep from the earth back up to the sky. And just continue this nice gentle flow. Think of yourselves as weeding things out. And speaking of weeds, how many of you, like me, have to train yourself to look at blossoms first before the weeds? I used to go into my garden all the time and just for some reason always see the weeds, like, oh, I gotta get in there and weed. And I've had to train myself over the years to look at the blossoms first, to really appreciate how beautiful they are, and then turn my attention to the weeds. And it's a wonderful metaphor for life too, to look at ourselves, look at our blossoms first, and then maybe turning our attention to our weeds and taking care of them. So we'll bring our hand, sweeping our hand back, coming back up into wide-legged stance. We'll come back to mountain pose. Now, with mountain pose, we often bring our toes to the corners of the mat. I'm not going to stay forward for this for you, so I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. And keeping the pinky toes on the edge of the mat, turning our heels in, we often do a wide-legged stance, bringing our hands to heart center, and then lowering our hips to the mat. This time I'd like you to take something imaginary out in front of you and lower it down to the ground, bending your knees as you go. So you're squatting and lowering it, and then lifting it back up. We'll do that a couple times, lowering it to the ground, setting it on the ground. And when you're lifting, you're always lifting with your knees, keeping your back straight. And then one more time, bringing it down. And we're going to set it down and come to our wide-legged stance. Our wide-legged squat. And then bring our seat down to the mat. And one thing that we're now into the kind of the restorative phase. One pose we often do for upper back tension, if you have that, is thread the needle. And there's a version that you can do just sitting down. Maybe you're in a chair, or you've gone to your garden bench and it's like, oh, done. And but you still have that tension in your upper back. So if you would bring your one arm, we'll say the right arm out in front, and then sweep it over to the left. And then taking your left hand, you're going to bring it to your right shoulder. And then bring or sweep your left hand, which is right now on your shoulder, all along your right arm. And just gently massage that, pulling it over to the left. And when I say pull, I'm not meaning that in a strong sort of way, just so you feel some interaction between your hand moving to the left and your shoulder here. And then coming back to your hand, hands meeting hand. And then you come back to Anjali Mudra. And we'll do that on the other side. So send your left arm out and send it across to the right. We'll take our right hand and slowly bring your right hand gently down your left arm. And just kind of feeling that nice gentle stretch in your arm. Okay. Let's roll down. Now this is something you might or might not be able to do outdoors, but once you come inside, this is the restorative part. So rolling down, and you can choose whichever method you want. I'm just gonna do one vertebrae at a time. And then bring my knees to my chest, give them a nice hug. Oh, it feels good. And then rock back and forth so you're massaging your lower back. And if you'd like, you can make those circles draw circles with your toes. Have another style of lower back massage. And reverse the circle. And then bring your knees again to your chest. Send your arms out to each side, shoulder height. We'll do recline twists. So exhaling, bring your knees, drop your knees down to the right side. And gently turn your head to the left. And then gently bring your head back to center. Inhale, lift your knees back up. And exhale, drop them over to the left. And then slowly turn your gaze over to your right fingertips. And then bring your head back to center. Inhale, bring your knees back to center. And the next pose, one of my favorites after gardening, and it truly does help a lot. It's an inversion pose, and it's called legs up a wall, or when I first learned it's called ants up a tree. And you could do this outside against a tree or indoors against the wall. And I'm going to do it against the wall today. So I bring my hips to the wall, so they're snug against the wall. And then I lay down. Oops, I think I should go a little further down. Lay down. And then I pivot so that my butt is right against the wall, and I send my legs up the wall. And I just relax here for like 5 minutes, and all the blood goes back down into my lower back. And I get up feeling truly restored. And this is a restorative pose that really, really works. So you can either have your legs up the wall straight, or you can bring your soul to soul together. But I find extending my feet up the wall really works. And I do it in the kitchen against my kitchen cupboards. You do it against the sofa. I have another version of that. And this is actually something that you could use for Shavasana too, is utilizing a chair. So it has a little bit of that legs up the wall, but also it's used in some yoga practice types for Shavasana. So you bring your legs over the seat and just relax here. So if you have that, you can continue on with Shavasana. Otherwise, prepare yourself for Shavasana. And again, this is the restorative pose that you may opt out of, but probably is the most important one after a lot of hard physical work. So just relaxing your body, bringing your feet to the corners of the mat, relaxing your feet, relaxing your legs, relaxing your arms away from your body with palms up. Have that lower back kind of supported by the mat. And letting the nutrients of today's practice soak deep within you. Today's poem is by Robert Frost. It's called Putting in the Seed. You come to fetch me from my work tonight when supper's on the table, and we'll see if I can leave off bearing the white, soft petals fallen from the apple tree. Soft petals, yes, but not so barren quite. Mingle with these smooth bean and wrinkled pea. Then I go along with you ere you lose sight of what you came for and become, like me, slave to a springtime passion for the earth. How love burns through the putting in the seed, on through the watching for that early birth, when just as the soil tarnishes with weed, the sturdy seedling with arched body comes shouldering its way and shedding the earth crumbs.